Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. DC Week continues. So, new episode of Arrow, Anarchy is back, and we found out one more person that's definitely not in that grave at the end of the season. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. There is a new round of the Reverse Flash Ring giveaway that's going on right now. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So let's just start with top 5 WTF and then I'll do some Easter eggs. Starting with number 5, the opening montage. Oliver in the emergency room with the doctors and Felicity right after the accident, cutting back and forth in montage between him interrogating ghosts and then killing one. Apparently, no kill rule off the table now. If you remember all the way back to season 2, he broke his no kill rule when Count Vertigo almost injected Felicity with Vertigo, the original Count Vertigo, not the one from season 3. So he's totally willing to break that no kill rule for Felicity. And he started lying to his friends again, but more on that in a second. But I just like the way they edited the intro, the way it's meant to put you into Oliver's mind, like it's completely confused, all jumbled up. It's just a blur of blood and punching and kicking and craziness. Very disorienting, very effective. On to my number 4 WTF. Oliver has decided to kill Damien Dark, and he doesn't care what it takes. He straight up asks Quentin to burn his bridge. He says, there's a place in the Arrow Cave that you can live in. We have a place where you can hide out because you won't be able to go to your house after this. Quentin, of course, being the good friend, is happy to give up that information. Anything to take this son of a bitch down. But it leads them to Anarchy. Welcome back, Lonnie Machin. Haven't seen you in a while. Looks like you got some extra city miles on you there. In case you missed it, that A was actually painted in his step-parents' blood. So the episode's all about revenge, and they have this really nice symmetry between every character's arc, where everybody is out for some form of revenge. Oliver wants revenge against Damien Dark, Anarchy wants revenge against Damien Dark, even in the flashbacks, Conklin wants revenge against Oliver. That's why he whipped him, because Oliver got Conklin whipped at the beginning of the season. So you have all these characters that are out for revenge, but in each of their arcs, within each of their arcs, there's a person, like a friend or a confidant, that acts as the voice of reason. Even the campaign manager tries to be Thea's voice of reason, mostly because he wants to bone her, but we'll give him a pass. So no one wants their friends, whoever they are that's out for revenge, to lose their humanity. Diggle had that line where he's like, Oliver, I don't want you to lose the humanity that you've regained. It's the same thing in Thea's situation. If she were to kill Anarchy, she'd go right back to being a monster. Which is interesting because Damien Dark did not kill Oliver. So that's almost like saying he is not a monster, albeit for the end tag sequence where it's like, you know what you have to do, you have to kill that son of a bitch. But on to my number 3 WTF, sliding back a little bit, Oliver frees Anarchy and tells him to make sure that Damien Dark is dead. Really awesome hardcore scene, but I love when it just falls apart in the Arrow Cave and Oliver's like, I don't know what to do. This was the only plan I had. And then I thought of the trailer moment with John Barrowman's character turns to Oliver and says, you know, the thing I love about you, Oliver, is you look awesome, but you are just the dumbest thing on this planet. Oliver Queen explained, very effective when he knows what he wants to do, but not so great at the long game. Diggle beats the shit out of his brother to get information. Thea wounds Anarchy a little bit, like sticks the arrow in him. Everyone backslides a little bit during the episode before they ultimately reach the right conclusion. On to my number 2 WTF though, Team Arrow saves Damien Dark's family from Anarchy. Now, we don't really know what this family relationship is, like what it works, how she is part of Hive, but we do know that he calls them his family, so I'm assuming this is his wife and this is his daughter. It's actually a pretty good fight scene. They had some good fight scenes in the episode. Arrow does fight scenes better than most shows on television. Just incredibly kinetic, very good choreography, good cinematography, fight scenes, totally on point. But on to my number 1 WTF. So this is kind of a tie between Felicity never being able to walk again. That is just a prognosis. We could talk about how that's not going to stick all night. But Damien Dark also lets Oliver spend a couple of weeks, as he says, with his family, after which it is back on. Don't you just love that mirrored scene at the very end where Damien Dark's wife is like, you should have killed that son of a bitch. And Felicity is also like, you know what you have to do now. You have to kill that son of a bitch. It's almost like this woman is Damien Dark's version of Felicity, but she's not evil Felicity. There's so many other comic book characters that would be better for that. Just to address that real quick, Damien Dark's wife here has a bit of a subplot. I don't know how big she is in Hive, but she's going to be running against Oliver for the mayorship of Star City. Felicity, on the other side of that, we have to talk about this a little bit. The writers have already confirmed she is not going to become Oracle. There was a big deal about this a couple weeks ago. I made a couple videos about it. There was this footage that was released where it was like, she's never going to walk again. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Maybe they want her to be Oracle. It felt very misleading. And then the writers did officially come out and say, no, we're not doing the Oracle thing. We're going to do something a little bit different. They didn't say what they were doing, obviously. They're not going to spoil it. Only to say that they're not going to make her the Barbara Gordon Oracle character. What I do think is going to happen is she will be without the use of her legs. So she'll be in a wheelchair or she'll be sitting down in all of her scenes for at least the next 4 or 5 episodes. And then when her father comes, or towards the end of the season, she'll find a way to get up to make herself whole. Now, obviously, I think a lot has to happen before that can go down. And I'm wondering, just because one of the characters was like, you got some steel in you, if they're going to use some tech to help fix Felicity, if it's going to be like this Arrow Flash collaboration. Mr. Terrific, Caitlin, Cisco, all the scientists at Star Labs, Ray Palmer, they could probably find a way to make Felicity walk again with some techno-organics, but we'll have to see. I think this is just going to be Felicity's island, her crucible to survive for the rest of the season, in addition to actual villains, like physical villains. But when Oliver rolled up into the hospital, didn't you just wonder when her mother was like, we're on the second doctor, they brought someone in from Central City, and you were like, wait, is that Henry Allen? Henry Allen's a doctor. He actually looked at Barry's scans when Barry broke his spine. Maybe he's a spinal surgeon. But obviously John Wesley Shipp isn't on the show, but I think it'd be an awesome way to have him cameo on Arrow. But I do think it would be fun if Mr. Terrific helped her out with her physical therapy, and while they were doing physical therapy, they thought up like really creative solutions for the company, like here's some new tech, or here are my T-spheres, or here's a way to fix you. So we'll see, for better or for worse. And as a lot of you saw, like I was seeing people talking about it on Twitter, yes, Oliver and Felicity were not wearing their engagement rings in the limo at the end. So I definitely think that something happens with Damien Darhk to torpedo their marriage. In my heart, I also feel like superheroes aren't allowed to have happy marriages. It's just like the Batman Bruce Wayne thing. They're so torn up inside that the engine that drives them to be a superhero also destroys most of their personal relationships. Now, that doesn't mean they can't have positive relationships. They can totally have friends with benefits, but as long as there's someone out there to be gotten, just like Felicity says, what's Damien Darhk doing in Bali? It's all about that idea of like, if there's still people that need saving, then you don't have time to do the family thing. So make of that what you will. Most of the main cast is signed through season 7, so I think that they'll all be back. But Diggle just shot to the top of my list about who's in that grave. Think about who would make Felicity that upset. She's not super close with Quentin. Maybe it's her mother. Maybe it's Thea. I don't want it to be Thea because they've already killed Thea and then brought her back. So I do think it's someone else. That's why Diggle is at the top of my list. But let me know in the comments, after this episode, who do you think is in that grave? And if you guys didn't see it, there's been a whole bunch of DC stuff happening this week. They call it DC Week for a reason. Legends of Tomorrow starts tomorrow. It is going to be crazy. I think it's only an hour long, but I'll totally post my video after it airs. And there are a couple other videos I'm catching up on. I am going to do an Agent Carter video that I'll probably post sometime on Thursday. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I just posted my Flash video from last night. You can click here to watch that. It's Flash episode 10. And you can click here for the Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman trailers. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.